What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on a Tuesday night. Welcome to New 6 Weather Live at 9:30. We hang out every Monday through Friday at about this time, 9:30 in the evening, to talk all things weather. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. The beaches are still really messed up. They are, waves are high. It's been an ugly day at the beach, and I think that's going to continue for the next week. We're going to talk about all of that coming up in just 1 second. Of course, we're going to have an update on Imelda and Humberto. Last night's satellite image was really cool. This one is even cooler because they are in that Fujiwara. They are doing that dance out there. And this is something that rarely happens in the Atlantic Ocean. We're taking a live look tonight from Daytona Beach, or that's Port Canaveral up top. My locator didn't save. So we're going to, that's Port Canaveral up top, and the bottom one is St. Augustine. And that live look is courtesy of our friends at WeatherStem. So thank you again for tuning in, guys. Okay, then the dangerous beach conditions. Again, mentioned it. Those are going to last for quite some time, and we're going to break all of that down. So here's the satellite image, and it is something. We talked last week that it would be crazy to see this. And what I have on here is kind of the wind field overlaid on the satellites. You can kind of see how they're almost conjoining now. What is happening? Imelda is kind of flipping Humberto northwest, and tomorrow they're going to swing around the center, and Humberto is going to flip Imelda closer to Bermuda. Now, Bermuda is going to be in for a rough day, rough night, Wednesday into Thursday, because they're talking about hurricane conditions, potentially wind gusts over 100 miles an hour because of this hurricane that is expected to get a little stronger over the next couple of hours and over the next day or so. There's a closer look at Imelda. Again, it's being tugged away from the United States because of Humberto. Mentioned this yesterday that if it wasn't for Humberto, there would be a hurricane landfall somewhere along the Carolina coastline. But because it was out there, it kind of grabbed it and snatched it away from the Atlantic seaboard. So we can thank Humberto for that. But at the same time, it's also kind of sending it back into the island of Bermuda. So here's the latest on Imelda. 85-mile-per-hour tropical storm as it moves again right smack dab in the middle of the cone lies Bermuda. That red shaded area is the hurricane warning that's in effect for them. Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, that's when it's going to be pretty wild for them. And that's something that they're going to have to deal with. Again, we'll be thinking about them late Wednesday. The island can handle this stuff, but still, wind gusts of over 100 miles an hour. I don't think anybody wants that. So that's going to be kind of an ugly time for Bermuda tomorrow. So we'll be watching that closely for them. I want to show you just kind of, again, the progression of this is just amazing to me. And we'll keep this kind of zoomed in, and you kind of see how the two centers come together, and they're almost conjoining right there. And it works its way kind of as one bigger storm, and it finally goes away. So that's by Friday. We're still dealing with kind of a post-tropical merger at that point. But I want to show you this, the wave heights. We had a question. If you're watching News 6 tonight, Matt asked how much longer this was going to last. This is through Thursday into Friday. Look at how expansive this yellow color on your screen, that represents wave heights of about 10 feet. Look how expansive that is, from Florida to the Bahamas to Puerto Rico, back to Bermuda. Then we have the giant waves where the storms are coming together, 20 to 30 foot waves out there, and then going back to the Azores. So it is going to take a lot of time for these waves to come back down. There's also another storm system moving into Florida as we get into the upcoming, really Thursday, Friday into Saturday. It's a combination of high pressure, actually, and then a stalled front in South Florida. I'll show you all that setup on the Florida side of things. Rodney says here, the humidity is way up currently. Rodney says, I think Florida will finally have to pay attention. Mid October today, the Euro put out a strong signal of the MJO coming through for the next month. Yeah, and the European ensembles caught on to that as well, and it's not kind for the middle of October. Um, so I actually just did a video on that on our weather page at just weather at just underscore weather if you want to check that out. But today, as we always do on Tuesdays, the Climate Prediction Center came out with their thinking of the next couple of days. And that is what the highlight is. So this is the time that we've been highlighting for quite some time now. The first week of October to the middle of October. It's more likely going to be now the mid to late October. So there it is right there, the 15th through the 21st. And it looks like that's the area to watch. It's the time of the year that we watch this area anyway, but nonetheless, greater than 40% shot for tropical development there, the environment being conducive for it anyway, in that October 15th to October 21st time frame. And then from that point is when we would track. So again, there's nothing concrete there. Models are starting to spit some things out. The ensembles have been showing that for quite some time. It's been unclear if we're going to get the MJO coming through. The GFS has been aggressive. Most other things have been not aggressive until the Euro starting to come online a little bit today with that stuff. So that's one of the things that we are going to be watching as we get into that second to third week of October. Again, that's obviously what we don't want. This area has not been kind to the southeast corner of the United States over the last couple of years. And it looks like at least this is going to be the area that we need to watch. One of the reasons why we really want to watch this is because this is untapped, ridiculous tropical fuel, and anything that gets going in the Western Caribbean or Southern Gulf or near the loop current, which is kind of back here and then up to the Gulf Stream, it is rocking. I mean, it's going to say higher extreme fuel all the way through there. So we want to avoid this area at all costs. But again, climatologically, that's the area we look. And I think we're going to get help in this area, unfortunately, because of the Madden-Julian oscillation moving through. So that's going to be the area to watch. Okay, guys, coming up, we're going to go over a changing weather pattern in Florida that is going to keep rain on the coast and that is going to keep the beaches on the dangerous side, choppy side, all that stuff. It's going to be a complex weather pattern, but we are going to break it down coming up in just 3 minutes. If you have any questions on what we just talked about, by the way, post them in the comments and I'll do my best to get to them in a few minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to News 6 Weather Live. We're live every night at 9:30, coming at you on News 6 Plus. I hope everybody has that downloaded. Show of hands if you do. And of course, on the News 6 YouTube page, welcome again tonight. We are here every Monday through Friday at 9:30 to give you kind of an early look at the weather if you can't stay up till 10 or 11, and really to have the conversation about weather. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, all that stuff. We like to just have the conversation, let you know what we're kind of working on behind the scenes and everything like that. Okay, so some of the questions. Yeah, tomorrow still looks, I mean, as good as it can. It's probably the best day of the week. It's going to turn pretty crummy, especially along the coast over the next couple of days. So I really think tomorrow is pretty good. I mean, there's a stray downpour in the forecast for the Orlando area, but it's still looking pretty good, all things considered. 70s, I think, are still pretty far off, Yvette. Yeah, there's nothing indicating that we're going to get into the 70s anytime soon. So we're going to have to wait. There's no big cold front or anything like that. Typically, it's, about 2 weeks away. We'll have to wait and see. Um, and all of that stuff. So, alrighty, let's move on to the Orlando portion or the Florida portion of the show. So, of course, the weather's got to start with the hurricanes again. So, there are the two twin hurricanes off our coast. It's the reason why the beaches are so dangerous, both of them combined, making things a little rough out there. Um, Melissa, I did. I said the coast was going to be a little choppy. Rain was going to increase on the coast over the next few days. So it's not going to let up anytime soon, I don't think. And we're getting to the Florida portion of the show as we're going forward here. Okay, so there are the two hurricanes again, and this is why it's been so wet on the coast. You see the breeze out of the northwest. The white lines represent the wind direction here, and they're not outer bands of Imelda, but what it's doing is it's with that northeast wind off of the Atlantic, it is generating those downpours that we've been in and out of for the last couple of days, and that's why we're going to be in them again tomorrow. And then kind of a new system emerges. So this is why I think it's going to be a pretty nice day, at least if you're further inland from the coast. So with both of those hurricanes going out into the ocean, it's going to work to pull in drier air on the west side of the storms and through the east coast. So this is what we have going on tomorrow. And again, that's why I think the rain chances are going to be on the lower side tomorrow before they work their way back up again. So for that, I do want to show you the high resolution future radar, because this is going to get back into what I'm talking about. So there's 9 o'clock tonight with a few more stray downpours potentially working through. That's 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, tomorrow morning. And then you see that spiral there of those downpours pushing in. That's 11 o'clock on Wednesday. And you see there's not a lot going on in interior Central Florida, certainly not the panhandle of Florida. And then as we take this out towards 2 o'clock, minimal at best. And as we go through the rest of the afternoon and evening, I think we could pop a couple of storms, mainly west of Orlando, close to the I-75 corridor, and you see in the southwest side of the state, because we're going to be dry there for most of the day. So we're able to heat things up a little bit more. And then we pop the sea breeze. And with that breeze still out of the east northeast, or north northeast, we're going to push everything back off to the south and west. So that's what it is right there. Um, so that's what I think about that for tomorrow. I think this graphic shows the deal over the next 7 days. Now, I don't want you paying attention to really how much, because this is going to fluctuate. But what this is the rainfall forecast over the next 7 days. And you see where it's orange and red, close to the I-95 corridor, and then really along the Atlantic beaches into the southeast corner of the state. It's going to be because of that prolonged easterly breeze that we have going on, um, that we have going on through Saturday, Sunday, even into early next week. So that's why the rain chances stay relatively high. On the eastern side of the Florida Peninsula, certainly rain chances aren't zero in the 75 corridor, but you see the lighter green there. That means the rain amounts aren't going to be as prolific, meaning there's less rain expected. Same thing for the panhandle. So the wettest areas over the next 7 days are going to be kind of, if you drew a line from about Lake City, Florida to Orlando to Lake Okeechobee and then down to like Marathon, they're going to be east of that line. And then really clinging to the coast. So it's going to be pretty unsettled over the next couple of days. In terms of, and I think really that gets going on Thursday. Tomorrow's kind of our break as we transition out of the tropical influence to a more kind of just a crummy, almost like New England kind of feel, minus the cooler temperatures. It will be cooler, relatively speaking, though. October. Tomorrow's October. Forgot about that. 82 in Jacksonville tomorrow. Again, more influence along the Atlantic. 87 in Orlando, 86 in Vero Beach. Warmer the further west you go because we're not under the influence as much of that easterly breeze off of the Atlantic. So that's something, again, that I'm watching into tomorrow. And likely over the next couple of days as well. The west side of the state, the Gulf side of the state, it's going to be the drier of the two if you're planning anything over the next couple of days. All right, have some questions. Paul, I'll do my best to pull up. I'll try my best to pull up a Philippine satellite. It might take some time to pull in that data. I'll do my best over this 3-minute period. Rodney will discuss that coming up in just about 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Have a few minutes for some questions and answers, or just shooting the breeze about the weather. So feel free to post in it. It's awesome. Congratulations about the graduation. That's amazing. Okay, Rodney. Or no, that was not Rodney. We'll get to Rodney in a second. Paul asked about um, the weather in the Philippines. I was able to pull up that satellite on our weather computer. So we're looking at a tropical system, or just about to be a tropical system, just to the east of the Philippines. There's Manila to the north. There's Cebu down to the south. And that looks like it's moving due west, maybe with a northerly jog. It looks like modeling has that going towards the north side of the Philippines at this hour. We'll see if that ends up holding or not. But I have not obviously looked at this one close to have any kind of 2 cents in the roll, or 2 cents of any kind of thoughts there. But that's the satellite there. Um, that is the satellite going forward over on the Philippines. So thank you so much for that. That's kind of cool to kind of look on what's going on the other side of the world, and that's what we can do here on the show. We can break out to a national and a world view and see what's going on. We have a lot of cool tools in the weather computer and our weather system. So good stuff, Paul. Appreciate that. Okay, so Rodney, if you're still here, he asked me my gut feeling about mid October. Um, Earlier in the season, we highlighted the Gulf Coast of Florida for a high potential for tropical mischief. Um, so that would go in line with what we had preseason. The only thing is, I'm not convinced that the MJO gets over here. With the Euro coming online, I'm certainly more convinced, because up until then, it's really only been the GFS, and to a much weaker degree, some of the climate models. But we did see this last year where we had issues, and again, it's a good thing, of the MJO going from the Pacific to the Atlantic. It likely has to do with some of the how much warmth is um, built up in over in China and the Western Pacific. Um, that's obviously cooling as northern hemisphere goes into Baron Apopka. We will definitely keep your mom in your prayers, Melissa. Sorry you're going through something. But there is so my gut is saying to watch. I would have no indication right now on where the thing is going. You never like it when it's in the middle of October in that area, though, because lurking somewhere is a cold front to push it east. And east, there's a lot of land once they develop over there. So with the European coming online, if that trend holds, I mean, I think we're going to get something down there. It would just be a weird season if we don't pop something with all of that warmth and with a little bit of help coming from the MJO. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for being here. It was another great night. Thank you for the great questions. We're obviously going to keep tabs on the tropics. Imelda and Humberto almost out of here. The dangerous beach conditions are going to continue. We've been highlighting kind of the long range look at what the beaches are going to be, and it's not going to be good. So if you do have beach plans, or if you live along the beach, it's going to be and all that stuff. Yeah, I think so too, Rodney. And it's something I'm gonna look up at the. I'm gonna show the ensembles every week. Here they are. It was a kind of thing, because I showed this on the video um before. Let me get to my other screen. Um, that's the signal on October 15th. So that's a lot of signal. So this is something that we can check up on every single night if we want. And again, we watch the trend, we watch to see if this bites, and we see what the MJO projection continues to look like. And then we're going to see what happens, because if the MJO does come through, it's probably going to pop something down there. And then we're really going to have to watch, because it is very, very warm. Alrighty, guys. Thanks again for being here. Got to get ready for the 10 o'clock news. That's on in just a few minutes. New 6 to 10, catch us over there. We're talking about the beach conditions, and I'll show you that high resolution future radar. Again, latest model update coming in the next 15 minutes, give or take. I'll show that to you straight away. New 6 to 10 on New 6 Plus and on the New 6 YouTube page. Thanks a ton for being here, guys. We'll see you soon.